of Moscow is now commencing, and want to welcome everybody here for tonight's hearing. Our board chair is excused absent, so yours truly, the vice chair, will be trying to go through the agenda here. And for the first action, I would like to ask for approval of the minutes from the November 10th, 2025 minutes for that meeting. Is there any comments? Yes, Marshall.
No comments. I just move approval of the minutes.
Okay, it's been moved and it's been seconded by Ivy to approve the minutes of the 10 November 2025. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. We'll now have public comments, time limit of 15 minutes. Members of the public may speak for the board regarding matters not on the agenda, not currently pending before the Board of Adjustment. Is there anybody who would like to comment? Very well. Before we go into action item number 3, it's come to my attention from the staff that action item number 4, the public hearing on the proposal for a conditional use permit for 427 Troy Road permit has been withdrawn. So we are not going to take action on that today. I wanted to jump ahead in case there were people here for that particular item who would be expecting to hear it, and they're not going to hear it tonight. So you are excused if you'd like, or you can always stick around, of course, as a public hearing.
So this is the old where the consignment store.
That's correct. This was for the firehouse.
So that's been pulled.
It's been pulled. Doesn't mean the project's not going forward. I can't attest to that. All I can say is it's not on the agenda tonight.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks.
You bet. And I thank the staff for bringing that to my attention too. Okay, with that, we will go then to agenda item number 3, a public hearing for the proposal of a conditional use permit at 2010 South Main Street, permit application LUP 2025-0027 action item. The conditional use permit is an application to establish an existing legally non-conforming sign located at 2010 South Main Street as historically significant in order to allow its continued use in modification per Moscow City Code 4671.
Thank you. And
Go
that,
ahead, Lucy.
that gets us through our first slide. Non-conforming sign located at 10 South Main. Then to consider the sign as a historically significant sign in order to allow it to have its face changes through the historical sign provisions. The subject site, the home of previous Iron Walk and before that Chinese Village, located in the south of the southeast intersection of South Blues River Drive and South Main Street. It's got the ice rink there to the west, some storage up here to the northwest, Reformed Trinity Church to the east, and various commercial enterprises to the south. There is a communal access drive to the south of the subject site that serves properties to the east, the south, and I guess that's it. The applicants, Steve and Tracy Hacker, own 2012 South Main, which is immediately adjacent to the subject site. And as you can see in this aerial, the south half of the subject site is a gravel parking lot, which is fairly indistinguishable from the 2012 site immediately to the east, which is home of 42 Bar Grill. And the building on the subject site, home originally to the kitchen and commissary area for the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 30s. The subject sign, which was put in when it became a Chinese restaurant in 1967, is there in red. And again, the communal access point further to the south. The subject site and all properties around it are all zoned motor business. In the motor business zone, they are allowed 1 sign per frontage. We're focusing on this tonight because that's why we're here. one sign per frontage, maximum area of 125 square feet, with a maximum height of 25 feet measured at the grade at the base of the sign. The sign at 2010 South Main Street, they only have one freestanding sign, and it's only approximately 60 square feet, but it's about 33 feet above grade at the base of the sign. And along the west edge of the property, from the southwest corner up to the northwest corner, the adjacent Highway 95 frontage gains elevation. And adjacent to the subject sign, it's about 6 feet above the grade of the subject site next to it. So while the sign is 33 feet at its base, compared to the adjacent highway, it's 27 feet in height above the grade of the highway. And because of this excess height, it's considered a non-conforming sign. Non-conforming signs are not allowed to have their faces changed or modifications made unless they're brought into compliance with the sign code, which would limit the sign to 25 feet. An exception to that are signs that are deemed historically significant. Those can be repaired, relocated, modified. They can have their faces changed. To be considered a historically significant sign, they need to have significant historical value to a neighborhood or to the community at large. Moscow has no other standards for determining if there is a historically significant sign, and this is one of the first tasks before the board this evening. Moscow has no standards, but within the historical preservation field, properties, structures can generally be considered eligible to be put on the National Historic Registry of Places if they're older than 50 years old. So it's reasonable to consider 50 years old as a guideline for that. The site and the sign history is noted. In the 30s, the building was built as part of the Civilian Conservation Corps' kitchen commissary area. 1967, it became the Chinese Village. We do not have records on permits for the sign installation. It was likely between 1967 and 1969 when we have citizen confirmation of the sign's existence. In 2017, when the management switched to the Iron Walk, they replaced the sign faces and no permits were obtained at that time. Now in 2025, the applicants are wishing to replace the sign faces and repaint the sign, and they are getting permission. So, is this a historically significant sign? Does it have significant historical value to a neighborhood or to the community at large? If you guys decide that yes, that is the case this evening, then you'll continue on to consider the relevant criteria and standards for the conditional use permit. If no, any modifications that they make need to be done in compliance with the sign code, and the sign will need to be brought down in height. The relevant criteria and standards are our standard. The proposed use is a conditionally permitted use in the zoning district, that the character of the proposed use will be in harmony with the neighborhood and surrounding land uses, that the proposed use as approved or as approved with conditions will not generate nuisances that will be injurious or detrimental to the adjoining properties or neighborhood. The location, design, and size of the proposed use will be adequately served by existing public services. The proposed use will not endanger the public health or safety. The proposed use meets all applicable development standards. And in this case, it would be just an exception to that height because that's the focus here. And finally, the proposed use will not be in conflict with the comprehensive plan. Tonight, the board has the option to approve the application, approve it with conditions, deny the application, or table the decision and ask staff to provide more information. Staff recommends that the Board of Adjustment approve the conditional use permit for refacing the non-conforming pole sign located at 2010 South Main with no conditions. And we are here for questions.
Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Lucy, was there any comment from the state of Idaho, ITD?
No.
Under questions from the board members?
Yeah, I just have a question that this building was originally built in 30s, and then it was made into the restaurant in 67. And then the sign was put in maybe 69. Do we have any records of times when the highway was widened or changed in width?
Engineering does, we do not have them with us tonight.
What would be the reason you'd like to ask, Steve? I mean, just historical?
Well, it's real close to the highway. It might not have been so close to the highway at that time. And that doesn't have any effect on the height, but when it was built, was it really that close to the highway as it sits today? And the highway now goes up the hill there and creates a different angle of where the highway is from what it could have been maybe years ago. But just wondering if you had any information about that. Yeah.
Any other, I don't have any question. Ivy, do you have any last? Thank you very much, Lucy. We'll now hear from the applicant. And please state your name and address, please.
Did you officially open the public hearing?
Yeah, I don't, after him.
Vice Chair Thompson, members of the board, my name is Stephen Hacker. My address is 776 Indian Hills Drive, Moscow, Idaho. And thank you all for considering our permit tonight. Our goal is actually to try to do two things. Make this a more appealing entrance to the city of Moscow for all of our businesses, because there hasn't been a lot of work on this sign done other than some panels that, as I just learned, maybe didn't go through this permitting process, but we're rule followers, so we're going to go through the permitting process, and we appreciate you considering that. And again, we're not going to make any structural changes. If you've seen in your packet, we're just going to try to make that sign a little cleaner, a little better. It's better for our business, but other businesses as well. My wife will attest to this. Just about every day we have to explain to somebody there isn't a Chinese restaurant here anymore. We don't mean to chase people off. We encourage them to come to our restaurant, but we're trying to make this at least a more informative sign for folks coming into the city. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about our thought process through this, the history we've learned about the site, or anything else you'd like to know regarding our application.
Okay, is there any questions from the board on the applicant? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hacker. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing, and I ask anyone who would like to talk in support of the project to please come forward and identify yourself by your name and your address.
Hello, I'm Kyle Allison. I live at 437 East Beach Street here in Moscow. I think that this would be a great idea to do some maintenance on the sign. My question, however, I was originally here for the fire district, so one of the things I pay attention to is the city limits. My question is, was this originally in the city limits when it was in service as a Chinese restaurant, or has the city limits grown past East Palouse River Drive since it was put in? So I think it would actually have probably preceded it, given where it's at.
It was within the city limits, and if you move forward a slide, I believe the next slide is a map of, one more. There we go. This is a 1964, 1967 map. And all the way down, heading down 95, that little furthest southeast bit is zoned motor business down in 1964 or 67.
All right, that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Is there somebody else who would like to testify in support of the project?
Hi, I'm Sage Maketich. I reside here in Moscow at 1132 East E Street. Have to say, being someone who drives between Moscow and Lewiston fairly often for work, and passing by this sign pretty often. It's something that is very visibly apparent whether you're exiting or coming into town. It would be nice if that sign reflected the current usage of that that property. So that's generally why I'm in support of it. But appreciate your guys' support, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Anyone else like to testify in support of the applicant's project? Would anybody like to testify in opposition to the project? Would anybody like to comment of either way or about the project in general? With that, closing the public hearing, and we'll ask the board now to deliberate. Yes, Marshall.
Tim, yeah, I think it is definitely historically significant. I can remember back in my college days playing poker in the kitchen, so I've got good memories of it. And the fact that new signs now that are in the city right away or on the state right away have to be engineered. But the proof that this sign has lasted more than 50 years is pretty good proof that it's probably a pretty good sign. And the fact that it's been there for over 50 years and no problems have evolved from having the sign there that we know of. It hasn't caused any traffic accidents or anything that we know of. So I would say it's historically significant, and I think that there's no need to change it other than redo the lettering.
Thank you, Marshall. Other comments?
I agree with Marshall.
Well, I know I'm a fan of preserving history, no matter what shape or size. So that's how I kind of feel in general about preserving our history. I probably can remember the sign too when I was a freshman here in '67. So
It seems like it's been here, longer than a lot of people that live here, and it's pretty much a historical part of Moscow.
I appreciate that they're going to keep it the way it is. I mean, people who would be new owners might want to take it down or change it. It's quaint. And so the fact that they want to make it look better, especially as you're coming into town, I mean, it also shows something about the town. So I agree.
okay, anyone would like to make a motion? Marshall?
Steve, or Tim, excuse me. I'd move approval of the conditional use permit with no conditions, and ask that the staff prepare some relevant criteria and standards for us to look at in a future meeting. And I would also state that I feel it is of historical significance.
Okay, it's been moved to approve the application and ask the staff to prepare a recommendation for critical aspects in the standards, and also by doing so signify that we consider it as historical significance. Is there a second?
Can I get the board's opinion on sort of staff's outline of the relevant criteria and standard?
I frankly like
Discussion.
the ones you proposed in your application. I don't know if anyone else, I thought they were well written.
They look good.
Yeah, I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the application and consider it historically significant. We'll start with you, Ivy.
Aye.
Okay, all those approve, say aye, please. Aye.
Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Aye. So it's been moved and approved by unanimous vote to approve the project. I might comment that I thought the staff did a nice job of putting this together. I learned an awful lot about city ordinances and signs, and took quite a bit of work, and I appreciate the work that went into that.
It's a fun one.
And I congratulate the hackers for ratifying the sign. We look forward to the new improved version. Okay, they have good barbecue, by the way, down there. Okay, is there any further action from the staff? I don't believe so. With action item number has been removed.
That is correct.
So I'll move for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, and Ivy seconded. Steve, okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So Jennifer, could you walk through the schedule of them two?